If you're a parent of a kid learning guitar, you know the dream, right? They pick up the instrument, they fall in love, and your house is just filled with music. But the reality, it's usually a struggle. Today, we're gonna dig into why that daily practice battle is so common and how a super simple 5-minute fix can literally change everything.
So, does this whole scene sound familiar? You set the timer for 30 minutes. The first 10 minutes, they're not so bad. But by minute 25, the focus is just gone. Mistakes start happening, and before you know it, the whole thing ends in frustration, maybe even tears, for both of you. If you're nodding your head right now, trust me, you are not alone.
In fact, take a look at this number. Studies show that a whopping 67% of kids who quit music lessons do it because practice just feels like a chore, a punishment. They get total practice burnout. The stakes are really high here. So how do we keep our kids in that other 33%, the ones who stick with it?
Okay, let's break this down. We'll start with the main problem, our whole approach to practice time. We've all been told that, 30 to 60 minutes a day is the magic number for success. But for a kid, that big chunk of time, it actually works against them. It follows this really predictable and kind of painful pattern that we can call the burnout cycle. It starts off with great intentions, good focus, but then after about 10 or 15 minutes, that focus just falls off a cliff. The last half of the session is just messy, full of mistakes and frustration, and it ends on a really sour note, which makes them dread doing it all over again the next day.
So, what's the answer? Well, it's this simple but really powerful idea called micro-practice, and it completely flips that old school model on its head. It's all about short bursts of high-quality work, instead of long stretches of just quantity.
And look, micro-practice isn't just practice, but shorter. It's a short session, maybe only 5 to 15 minutes, that has a laser-like focus on one and only one specific skill. We're talking about a single chord change, one strumming pattern, or maybe just a few notes of a new song. That's it. When you put them side by side like this, it's so clear. Instead of one long, draining session where you try to cover everything, you do 2 or 3 super short, focused sessions spread out through the day. And this really shows the biggest difference. Old school practice often ends in total exhaustion, but micro practice is designed to always end on a win.
I know, it feels a little backwards, doesn't it? How could practicing less actually get you better results? Well, the answer is all about understanding how a kid's brain is actually wired to learn and to focus.
The science here totally backs this up. This chart shows a child's optimal focus window. For a 6 or even a 9-year-old, you're looking at about 12 to 18 minutes of peak concentration. A 30-minute session is asking for nearly double what they can naturally give. Micro-practice works because it fits perfectly inside this window. It uses only their best, most productive minutes. And there's some cool brain chemistry going on too. When a child nails a short, focused task, like they finally get that chord change down in a 7-minute session, their brain releases dopamine. That's the feel-good chemical. It literally makes practice feel rewarding and creates this positive loop where they actually want to come back and do it again. And it all comes down to muscle memory. You see, muscle memory, which is everything for playing an instrument, is built by high-quality repetition, not by how long you sit there. In a focused 5-minute session, a kid might nail a G to C chord change 50 times perfectly. In a messy 30-minute session, they might only get 20 good reps in between all the other stuff they're struggling with. Okay, so we get the why it works. Now, let's get down to the how. How do you actually do this at home? It's way simpler than you might think. First thing, you've got to match the session length to your kid's age. Here's a simple guide. For a 6-year-old, we're talking just 5 minutes. For a 12-year-old, you can push it to maybe 12 or 15 minutes. The whole goal is to stop before they lose focus. And every little session should have this simple structure. A really quick 1-minute warm-up, then the main event, the focused practice on that one single skill. And then, and this is so important, a 1-minute fun finish where they just play something they already know and love. This guarantees they walk away feeling good about themselves. If you remember absolutely nothing else from this, please remember this. 1 focus per session. That's it. Don't try to cram chords and strumming and a new song into 10 minutes. Dedicate the whole session to one thing. Tomorrow, you can pick something else. That single-minded focus, that's where the magic happens. Now, like with any new strategy, there are a few common mistakes that even the most well-meaning parents can make. So let's run through them real quick so you can steer clear of these traps right from the beginning. First, and this is a big one,
Resist that temptation to keep going just because they're on a roll. The whole point is to leave them wanting more, not to completely drain their battery. Second, like we just said, don't pack too much in. Stick to the one focus rule. And finally, never, ever, ever use practice as a punishment. It has to be a positive thing they get to do, not something they have to do. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, the results can be just night and day for families who've been stuck in that practice time battle. Take Emma. She's 8 years old, and after just a month and a half of those standard 30-minute practice sessions, she was crying before practice and literally begging her parents to let her quit. This is a classic case of total burnout.
So her parents switched to 3 7-minute sessions a day. And this quote from her mom, it says everything. All the pressure was just gone. The tears stopped, and the amazing thing, pretty soon, Emma started playing longer, all on her own, just because she was having fun again.
And for busy families, this is an absolute lifesaver. Jennifer, a working mom, said it was basically impossible to find a solid 30-minute block in their day. But 2 10-minute sessions, one after breakfast, one before dinner, totally doable. And the result? Her son made more progress in 3 months than he had in the 6 months before.
So if there's one key takeaway here, it's this. For kids learning an instrument, short, focused, and consistent practice will win out over long, inconsistent, and unfocused practice every single time. It's all about the quality, not what the clock says.
So I'll leave you with this thought. Instead of looking at practice as this huge 30-minute mountain you have to climb every single day, what if it was just a simple, totally achievable 5-minute step? What could that tiny change unlock for your child's journey with music and, let's be honest, for your family's sanity?